Hello, everybody. Welcome to my channel if you're new here. And if you're coming back, welcome back. I am Ronan Elliott. And today we are going to talk about future faking in covert narcissistic relationships. So it's been a couple days since I've uploaded anything. I'm still in the process of trying to upload my old video that's like an hour long. I'm going to try it again tonight. A lot of times it just takes me a while because I literally don't have the time. My time is very limited. So there's other things that I try to do in my life. And so, I missed that window. It was uploading for a while, the video. It was like processing on YouTube. And then eventually it just disappeared. So I haven't even had a chance to look and see what that's all about. Sorry, my necklace is backwards and that's bothering me. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'll look at it and I'm going to re-upload it with some different settings in terms of how I originally exported the file. So I'm just going to kind of move ahead with the content because there's other stuff that I want to make. I apologize for my outfit. I'm really sweaty. I just ran out to get some cat food and some eggs and dishwashing soap. So I was running and it's like running and it's super cold. But then I got sweaty because I have hairy armpits. So I'm cooling down right now. I'm really excited to be back and be making more content, not stopping. I think full disclosure, I had a couple of days after I made that last video that I still haven't uploaded, where I had some triggers, some bad dreams, some just, anxiety. And I really had to kind of sit back, in addition to just not having time, and think about whether or not I wanted to still do this because it's challenging, and I think that the thing that I really realized is, I've been focusing so much on my strength and that I want to be strong and I am strong. But at the same time, in being strong, I am also very scared and weak sometimes. So I have these sort of two opposing feelings in myself that I am trying to honor both. And kind of after sitting with that for at least a day, decided I'm going to persevere. I'm not going to let my abusers scare me from a distance, silence me from a distance. They are able to completely fictionalize who I am, dismember my character like a Frankenstein body. So if they're able to do that in a free country, then I am very much able to continue talking about the abuse that they subjected me to in our relationship. Especially because I'm not naming them and I'm not going after them. So, if people figure out who they are, that's not my fucking problem. It's not my fault. I didn't do the bad things. I'm just talking about them. And it really just became apparent to me that I need to keep talking because so much of the, I guess, grief or shame or anger that I feel in myself, at myself, is the fact that, in the relationship, I was so trying to protect him, and to protect myself, because I wanted the relationship to work. So I kept justifying, unknowingly his abusive actions, deleting videos, deleting texts, deleting emails, because I wanted to forget, and so all that time that I wasn't speaking out, while I was being abused by him, it's frustrating because then, after the fact, I'm like, hey, this happened. And I realize it's still happening. So now is my time to continue talking about it. And the really good thing is it's documented now because he doesn't even talk to me. I've prevented him from having any direct communication with me. I blocked him on all channels. In any social media, when he creates an account to lurk me, I block it. If I even suspect it's him, I block it. His numbers are blocked on WhatsApp, on instant message, his email's blocked. Basically he just can't contact me, but he does talk to my mother and she doesn't delete anything. So we have this really great collection now of just proof and, further, documentation of his ongoing abuse. So that's really great, just for using as examples going forward because, since I deleted everything before, it's how do I prove it? But at the same time, I realized, like, it's not about proving it. Like, I'm not trying to get anything. I know what happened, and I'm just trying to share it, and I guess maybe legitimize it as much as possible, because the thing that he's really good at doing is gaslighting and constantly saying it didn't happen. Like, he constantly reaches out to my mom, like, sends her videos, sends her messages, wishes me happy Mother's Day, wishes me happy birthday, sends me money, you know, for our daughter, which, like, that's fine, but, like, is constantly still trying to get at me, yet publicly does not talk about me, you know, and even said, like, I think I mentioned in the last video, like, he was watching the video that I posted about why I still love my abuser. And he responded to that to my mom and even said, like, I'm telling you because no one else cares to hear it. Or basically because he can't tell his other lovers. He can't tell his fans, because to them, they have to all know that I don't exist. They don't know that he's constantly reaching out to me. And it's just funny, like, because I send him nothing. Like, I don't reach out to him. I don't look at him. I didn't wish him a happy birthday, a Merry Christmas, anything, because I don't care. And, like, I'm sure he has other people to do that. So why he keeps doing it to me is, one, because he's, like, fucking obsessed and controlling and I, like, got away. And also because he thinks it's somehow, like, threatening and, like, still, like, getting at me. But, you know, the more that I think about it and the more that I do this stuff, the more I'm like, I'm not fucking scared. Like, come for me. Come at me, bro. You know, like, that's not even what it's about. Like, I just want to help people because this shit sucked so hard. And I don't want that to happen for other people, you know, as much as I can help with that. Like, that's really what helped me recognize the patterns of abuse, was, like, literally listening to other people's stories. So that all being said, I realize I have, like, a 6-minute intro, and I really just need to talk about, like, the whole concept of future faking, which can really happen in any kind of narcissistic relationship. But in a covert narcissistic relationship, the difference is it's just not overt, meaning, like, it's not publicly professed. It's something that's done in private, just like the abuse is done in private. So, you know, between us, I was, like, his world. I, like, saved him. I made him more human. It was all these, like, undying professions of not even love, like, obsession, lust. I don't know, like, what it was exactly. I mean, he would have to tell me. But it was done in a very clandestine way so as not to piss off his other girlfriends, especially one that he's still in contact with, who's, like, super more famous than him, super more likable, super more successful, pays him good money. So he always wants to try to placate her and not let her know how much he resents her because she feeds him, you know, don't bite the hand that feeds. Like, that's his cash cow, you know, and I wasn't a cash cow. I was just some average, normal American girl that really had nothing to offer him. So, you know, initially when we first, I won't even say started dating, like, he came over the first night and he raped me. And then he went to an Ivy League university for 3 days for, like, a conference, which I think was, like, him dropping some kind of cred, but he wasn't speaking there and he didn't go there. He was just literally watching a talk, you know, but that was kind of like the false bravado that he always had. He would always kind of be like, oh, I know somebody that knows Marina Abramovich, who I really like. So he's like, I'll reach out to them and see if I can get you in touch with them. Or he would email Kate Bush, because I love Kate Bush, and be like, you should contact her. And I'm just like, dude, like, if I wanted to do that, I would do that, you know, but these were very much, like, the ways that he would try to impress me and, like, make me feel like he had connections when, like, in reality, he has no connections. Like, he tried to make an interview with, like, this well-known documentarian, and, like, they totally blew him off, you know, because, like, he's really just, like, small fish in the real world. Like, in where he's from, he's a big fish, but, like, in America, he's nobody, you know, and he's never gonna be anybody. He'll just keep kind of feeding off of his own people. It's very incestual, very, like, fart box sniffing. But fart box sniffing. But, like, when we first started hanging out, it was really strange to me. Like, I had never met somebody that had come at me with such intensity, you know, and I used to reflect back on it, how, like, he came so close to me, almost, like, physically, that I could never really see what he was. You know what I mean? It was almost like if something just runs right up into your face and you're like, what is this? Like, is this a mountain? Is it an elephant? Is it an alien, a spaceship? Like, I don't know, you know? And that's really how, how narcissists function. It's the love bombing phase. They just come at you real hard and they kind of overwhelm your senses, so you don't know what's happening. You just think, wow, I really wowed this person. This is like spectacular, once in a lifetime, Jack and Rose Titanic love. I mean, at least for me, that's how it felt. Like, the first 2 times we hung out, he assaulted me, and I've talked about that in a previous video, so I'm not gonna re-explain how that transpired and why I still stayed. Just watch the video. I'm not sure which one it is, but just watch my videos if you want to, and you'll see me explain that. But very early on, maybe like the 3rd time he came over to my house, which basically he came over to my house every night. Like, I have a screenshot, one that I did manage to save, which was just how he would tell me, like, oh, I lost my keys, I lost my umbrella, I have nowhere to go, and so he was constantly trying to get in my space. And I had such poor boundaries at the time because I was dealing with addiction. Like, I should not have been in a relationship. I was perfect prime picking, perfect target for him. And I wanted him to stay away from me more, but I was so afraid of telling him my truth and maybe him not, like, wanting to be around, that I'm just like, okay, I guess you can, like, live here now from, like, day one. And that's basically what he did. And, like, so the 2nd or 3rd time, I would say 3rd, maybe 4th time that he showed up, he came to my apartment. Well, every time he would have a gift. The 2nd time, when he returned from the Ivy League school, he had these like 3 antique keys, skeleton keys, which I'm sure he's given to another girl by now and told them it was their gift, because that's the kind of shit that they do. And he came to me with that. And it was really strange because nobody had ever brought me a gift on like a 2nd date. So I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. Like, and it was random, like 3 keys and, a lot of symbology, and I don't know. It was bizarre and it caught me off guard, and I thought it was a sweet gesture at the time. But I realized that's very much like in the love bombing phase, how they try to like impress upon you like how serious they are, right? And then the next time after that, he came over with a literal replica of the Flatiron Building in New York City, which there's also one in the country that he's from. And so he always like talks about the connection between his homeland that has a Flatiron Building, and then there's also one in New York. So it was very sentimental to him for whatever reason. I mean, everything to do with his home country is sentimental to him, like to a pathological level, honestly. But he brought that, and it wasn't just that he brought it, like, I'm sure some other woman gave it to him, but he brought it to me to, like, give to me, for it to live in my house. I don't know. And with it, he said he wanted to take me to New York to see the Frida Kahlo exhibit, which, at the time, it was at the Brooklyn Museum, and it was articles, like, clothing and artifacts from the Blue House, I think, where she lived in Mexico. And so it was a really cool exhibit, and I hadn't even heard of it, but he was already, like, mirroring me and, like, knew that I was super obsessed with Frida Kahlo and, like, knew my language and, like, how to get at me. So he's like, if you will come, I will take you to New York, and we will see the Flatiron Building, and, this is my accent, and we will see Frida Kahlo. And I was like, damn, like, 4th time I've seen you, and you want to, like, fly on a plane, you want to buy me a ticket, you want to take me to New York, like, this must be love, because no guy had ever done that to me before. And, like, the red flags were not going off. I was not thinking, this is a scam, this is a con, because he was so old. I thought, yeah, he's kind of lucky to have me, like, I'm a cool American chick, and he's, like, kind of fat and old and gray, and not cool, like very in his own bubble. And so that was something that I was like thinking in my mind, like, wow, this means something. It really means something, And then not long after that, we met right around Christmas time, just right at the end of November. And probably the next gift he gave me, like almost the very next time, was an ornament from the university that he is currently attending, where he's getting his doctorates and he's teaching, And it was a very, like, personal, once again, gesture. Like, he came to the house with this ornament from where he lives, where he works, where he exists, and he wanted to put it on my tree. And it was at that point that I talked to my good friend, who I consider my sibling. They're from Colombia, so they're from a similar culture as him, and they know, like, Latin men to a T, because, they were one. And he said to me, like, Ronan, I don't know about this guy. Like, this is a very common thing that, like, Latin men do, especially older. They, like, give you all these gifts, because like, yeah, Latin men also have issues too, so there's like two layers going on: the machismo and like the infidelity, and the narcissism was like his very own unique thing, the icing on the cake. But he's like, I would be wary of that, like that's not genuine. And I'm like, really? But it seems so genuine, because he was just laying it on thick, all the time, telling me how much I had saved him and how much I meant to him. So he was already warning me, my Colombian friend, about this, and, I ignored it because I was naive and I wanted to believe that this wasn't going to be an abusive relationship. Of course, like, why would I stay if I thought it was going to be abusive? And so what was interesting, like there was more things around that. Like eventually he gave me an alpaca because my family is Bolivian, and he like left it on my door one day when I wasn't home, like always like showing up at my place unexpected. That's another thing. They like get at you, make excuses to come see you. Like not long after the first time I met him, he like forgot a cord at my house or something. So he was just constantly like ramming himself in my life. And I was in such a unwell place that I really didn't see the danger of it, And so with that whole future faking of the trip, right, to New York and to see Frida Kahlo, that never happened, and that's really what they do, is they get it to kind of hook you and lure you in, and then it never comes to fruition. So by the time the exhibit was about to end, it was end of April, early May in New York. He never talked to me about that. We had already had like multiple fights, and I had tried to break up with him. And I remember returning the Flatiron Building to him, and then it never came back to me, because it was such a fake token conditional gift, which is fine. But he never was going to take me. So I ended up, because I did really want to go, buying a ticket to New York, going and seeing the exhibit myself. And he at no point like wanted to go, like offered to go, like this thing that he had professed he needed and wanted to do with me if I would come, like he totally didn't do. And there were a lot of other things like that. I had made it pretty clear early on that I was looking for a relationship where I could have children, and I had been dating other guys. Like he made me believe I was so neurotic, right? But I had been dating like multiple other guys, and they will all tell you I was a totally nice girl. Like when he and I started dating, I like let them know that I was interested in someone and I didn't want to lead them on. And then my abuser was seeing 10 women at the same time as me simultaneously, and told me he dropped them all to see me. Like red flag, red flag, red flag. And of course I felt so honored, but really I should have felt disgusted, And the thing is, he didn't even drop them. He just like started ignoring them. So they would be texting him. And I think one time, one of the women, this old woman in New York, she sent him flowers, and I went to pick him up because he can't drive. He's 50 and he can't drive. And I'm waiting to pick him up, and he's going to his mailbox before he comes into my car, and he comes out with flowers. And I'm like, did he get me flowers? Like, I don't know, because this guy's crazy. And he comes in and he's like, someone sent me these. And it was this old woman, I later came to find. And he tried to give them to me. And I'm like, ew, who does that? Like, who gives you someone else's flowers? Like, that some other woman was trying to give you. So I put him outside, because I'm like, there's probably some black magic on that. Like, she knows that you're ghosting her, and for somebody else younger, somebody else in your city. So I don't want any gift from her. So I just let him outside of my house, and they actually froze. Sorry for those flowers, but like, I don't want sloppy seconds, but that's how little he cared about people. Like, it was just all about him and all of the women that were fawning over him, and so, I talked about wanting to have kids, and there were several instances where like, we would have these conversations, and he would future fake, like when we have kids, or sometimes he would refer to himself as my, in his language, as my husband, or he would say I was his wife. Later on in our relationship, like there was always this promise that we were going to get married, but like we could never actually have that discussion, because that's what I wanted, especially after I had the baby, because while it wasn't a healthy relationship, I think there was a lot of grief for me in being like, oh my God, I want to have a nuclear family. I grew up with a mom and dad. What is it going to mean for her if she doesn't have that in her life? And so I was kind of holding on to it to my own detriment, and thank God I eventually let that whole notion go, because like, she has a father, my father, and he raises her well, and he's a man with integrity and with commitment and devotion and love. And, so there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, when I was in the hospital once, and he got into the emergency room by lying to them and saying he was my husband. And I didn't expect him to show up. I had texted him to let him know what was happening, because I didn't know if I'd be able to contact him. And he just showed up, and I'm like, how did you get back here? He's like, well, I told them I was your husband. And then he argued with the people, got me out of the hospital, and like that was the first time he told me he loved me. And that was like, I don't know, 4 or 5 months in, after I had already professed my love. And then he was super mean to me about it, told me he didn't love me, was a really bad fight. I self-harmed, he physically hurt me. It was bad, but he started like using these things, my insecurities, my desires, my wants and needs, as like little bait, to like keep me running like the little rabbit, the little dog chasing after the rabbit. He had these little, is that what it is? Or carrot? I don't know. In any race where you have a lure, And so he did that. And there was just so many examples. I mean, especially with the husband thing. That was always, he was my husband. I was his wife. One time he asked me, in the country that he's from, if I would be willing to be the wife of the president, him being the first president of this country once it becomes democratic. And I'm like, who says that, unless they mean it? But obviously he didn't mean it. Like everything he said was a farce, was just fake, was a lie, was a ploy, was a gimmick, but I was so naive and so trusting and so also unwell, like that's the thing that I try to really stress, is like, healthy people don't stay in narcissistic relationships, like, because they have self-worth, they have boundaries, they know what reality is. They very much prey on vulnerable people, empathic people, people that are struggling, that are vulnerable. And I was like that to a T, so I know there were like a lot of other examples of that kind of future faking, but I don't want this video to get too long. And I just kind of wanted to briefly go over that, like from my experiences. Like it literally is things like, we're going to get married, when we have a baby, I'm your husband, you're my wife. Gifts that have some sort of real significant meaning, like that are signifying some kind of long-term commitment, when they know that's what you want and they have no desire to give that to you in the end. Like that's straight up manipulation. Like I've been with plenty of guys, and like we've had those conversations, and they actually had the integrity to be like, I don't want that. And I'm like, cool, peace, So he just wasn't that. He always wanted to have people, but I think I told that I was out on a date with this guy the other day, and I was talking to him about it, because he's also he's Venezuelan, and so he knows a lot about the culture. And I was just telling him like, all these things that he would say to me that were just super manipulative and like preying on my insecurities. And he's just like, yeah, this guy was not I mean, not cool, for one. Like I showed him some videos, and he's like, wow, okay, the difference is like, you're beautiful and talented, and then he's trying to compete with you, and he's old and bloated, and so he thinks he's going to be really cool and avant-garde, and you can tell he's taking himself really seriously, and like it's just not working. Those were some videos on my old channel that I hid because they were just absolutely embarrassing. But I know that there were other things I wanted to say, and I kind of lost my train of thought. But anyway, yeah, I have been seeing other people, and it's been pretty fun exploring ethical non-monogamy now that I'm vaccinated. And yeah, I mean, nothing serious. I don't want anything serious. I like my life here with, my kid. But just kind of knowing that like there's life after a covert narcissist, like, and they do such a good job of devaluing you and making you feel like nobody, and going back out into the world and realizing how much power I really do have, and how desirable and worthy I am of real relationships and real honesty, that these other people are willing to give me. Like, oh, that's what I was telling this guy. I was saying like, the problem wasn't that he necessarily wanted to be with other people, because he was polyamorous. It was the fact that he was never truthful about it. Like he wanted to be able to keep you and to have you make decisions about the relationship without ever giving you all the facts, which is abuse, which is manipulative. It's like all I want from somebody, and just like all I want for the other person, is to be honest so that I know where we stand and then I can decide from there. But he never did that. I mean, in his last relationship with his cash cow, political cash cow woman, he was cheating on her with multiple other women, you know, with me. Like, and so the fact that like, it was a pattern. Like I should have seen it, you know, obviously, but he convinced me that I was so unique, I was so special, but at the same time also insinuated like he was never going to bring me around anybody. And I didn't understand that, and it hurt my feelings. But then once he started to show me around, I realized why. It's because I ruined everything. Like me existing meant that he was seeing other people. Me getting pregnant meant that he was sleeping with other people. And it very much called him out, like his actions, like the fact that our child exists. Like you can't deny that then he's been fucking around, you know? And then he was doing it too in our relationship, you know? And that's just what was so unfair. It was never about the non-monogamy, because I'm with people now that are like that. I'm like that. It's just the fact that he wouldn't be honest about it, and he would not let you have power, and that's abuse, like plain and simple. So I realize I'm getting off the topic of future faking. I've already given some examples. I'll probably upload this video today. It is Mother's Day, because I know it'll go up quick. It's only like 25 minutes long. And then I will try to upload that hour-long one probably tonight. So there might be 2 uploads because I know I'm behind and I want to keep this going. I'm not going to stay silent anymore. I'm not afraid. I have the truth on my side. I have proof on my side. So there's nothing to lose at this point. So I'm just free, and I'm happy, and I'm in love, and yeah, it's just good. So I hope you all are doing well, no matter like when you see this, if it's Mother's Day or not, you know, happy Mother's Day if you're a mother or a maternal figure, or you want to be a mom, you know, in any way that you feel you're a mother. Like I'm not at all into like labeling. And also it can be a really grief-ridden day. So like I'm there for people like that too. Like I feel for you. But whatever day you watch this, I hope that you're doing well, and I will check back in very soon. Need to come up with more content. I mean, I have lots, but I kind of need to like decide, and I want to start structuring these videos a little better. Like I got a new film editing program. I'm taking a film editing course, and I want to start to like flesh this out to make it fun, like to make it more interesting. So I think this might be the last. This one and the hour long that I still haven't uploaded. Those will be the last 2 videos, just kind of in this format, very freestyle. And then going forward, I'm hoping to have like a cute intro and like maybe some more edity stuff. I don't know. I'll stop making hand gestures and I will end this video. So until next time.